Thanks for coming over. This is Amodeus. Today's Dungeon Hunter Champion video is about Gun Mage. I don't know which Gun Mage it's going to be yet because we got to purchase them. So we invested very heavily in our Guardian initially, but then we switched over and we went after the Gun Mage. So let's see what we get. I'm hoping, fingers crossed, give me the water one. All right, let's do it. Water. Don't toy with my emotions, Game Loft. Come on. Yes! That's what I'm talking about. Nice, man. Oh, yes. Oh, I'm so excited about that. Oh, man. Oh, yes. Yes. So, I wanted the water Gun Mage for PvP because he's got element advantage every time he attacks. Oh, such a good unit. Let's go through his skills. I was really excited to get Smith the Water Gun Mage specifically because of all the stuff he has in his skill kit. Elemental advantage, buff removal, debuff removal. I mean, he's got strips and cleanses and all this good stuff, right? So reload fire is the remove one buff. So he loads 6 bullets, fires it at the enemies, and the next 6 basic attacks shot with the right revolver will be empowered with fire. So each bullet will explode, dealing damage to enemies near the primary target, which means in those confined spaces of like arena and stuff, that's excellent. Plus you get that buff removal. And be honest, who doesn't love buff removal in arena? Because buffs are getting out of hand a little bit in arena. I'm not gonna lie, they're getting a little out of hand. His second skill is called Reload Earth. It's a great skill. And his third skill is Reload Wind. They really work together, okay? So, Reload Earth, first and foremost. He shoots it downward in a wave. So, like a cone attack goes out. And it knocks the target into the air. It can disorient all enemies hit. And the next 6 basic attacks with the left revolver will be empowered with Earth, causing each shot to create an Earth wave that hits all enemies in a line. So he is attacking people AoE style in a line. And the reason that's so good is look at Reload Wind. Wind Energy Crystal gets loaded. He uses it. He propels himself through the air towards his target location, damage and push back enemies near the liftoff and landing position. This ability has a natural buff of raised attack speed and removes all debuffs from allies. So he's got a cleanse, he's got knockbacks, he's got knock-ups, he's got immunity with some of these skills. If you look at the last sentence of Reload Wind, stun, fear, provoke, immobilize, or silence. Can be cast, or he can cast a skill through that to remove buffs, which is insane. And of course he's got a crit rate buff leader. So if you look at all these skills, he's going to do AoE attacks, he's going to strip, he's going to cleanse, he's going to move across the board, create mobility for himself. The only downside to the gunsmiths is they're so super squishy. So let's look at what I thought about with the gear sets. All right, so let's look at Smith's gear. In the comments below, let me know what your recommendations, what your insights around your Smiths are, because based on looking at his skills now, I know it's not fully skilled up, and we're still leveling up. I didn't want to. I actually got all the points for leveling for the level up event so far, so I stopped leveling stuff until tomorrow when it pops back up, and then we'll have them leveled tonight. But I don't know. Like, I want to make sure he has high crit rate, right? Because he's a damage dealing champion. I mean, 90%. Plus, remember, he's also got elemental advantage on his basic attack. So, for the most part, he's always going to be crit. All right, I feel very confident in that. The Reload Fire. Now, he does get a plus 25% accuracy buff when removing buffs. So, I know that means he has, if you want to remove buffs, he needs to have a pretty high accuracy. So, I wanted to make sure that crit rate, crit damage, accuracy were huge for him as far as the substats go. And then Reload Earth also applies Disorient. So once again, I know accuracy is going to be important, but this is also like an AoE attack, cone-shaped attack. And I want to make sure that people are getting knocked up, that their skills are getting disrupted. If they're channeling, that's getting disrupted. So I wanted to make sure that, once again, there was pretty high accuracy, but also that it was dealing damage. And then with the attack speed, since he's getting that buff, I wasn't too worried about attack speed. None of his skills go off of attack speed, any of that. But I also know that I want, just how awesome all this skill kit is. I mean, his ultimate is on an 18-second cooldown on Adept, right? So I want to make sure that we have him on Adept, and it'd be super easy for me to do it on Precise, because it gives me the ability to get his accuracy up. So now, what's a little bit different is, I went into Arena, and I fought a bunch of Water Mages. Or, I'm sorry, a bunch of Water Gun Mage teams. Or teams that have the Water Gun Mage on them. And I'll be honest, they weren't hard, unless they were super, super tanky, right? They needed to do a lot of damage and be tanky. So, for me, you can see right here what I did was I went for perfect gear, right? Crit rate, crit damage, attack, accuracy, HP, defense. They're all super important, right? So for the most part, I'm able to take care of accuracy and substats plus using Precise. So really what I wanted to focus on was making sure that it had crit rate, and then attack or crit damage, and then HP and defense. And I didn't get it everywhere because we're still missing a couple of pieces. But we were able to get it on quite a few pieces to get us to where we wanted to be. And if you look, this piece right here, the helmet piece, definitely, it's a great piece, right? But it's not really what we want to, but that crit rate is just undeniably important. I mean, we had to go for some crit rate, some big crit rate stats in other areas, because we were able to put gear like this onto Smith. So, once again, crit rate, exactly what we want. Accuracy, exactly what we want. Defense, what we want. HP, what we want. Sounds good, right? Attack, crit damage, attack. But I'll be honest, once again, we got defense, accuracy on this. I wish I had crit rate on this. I wish it was, instead of move speed and attack speed, I wish it was crit rate, crit damage. Even if it was +5/+5, I would much prefer that. And then we actually had a really decent crit damage piece on one of our on our Abigail, the Fire Siege Tower. So I took it off because it had crit rate, attack, and HP. And I was like, the only thing it's missing really is accuracy, or more crit rate, of course. So I put that on there to make him a little bit tankier, a little bit more sturdy. Because I think that Bruiser build is definitely where it's at. But in the comments below, let me know. I might be totally off base. And then I was only able to get 2 of the stats I wanted on this one. The crit rate, obviously, and then the defense. Now, once again, I mean, this is where, last week we talked about Sam, right? And Sam talking about how important co-op is. This is a perfect example of why I should probably be participating in co-op more, because I know I have some legendary gear pieces on champions that, if I got the right role, would be perfect